Okay.
I see you. Everybody, so we are live again, Dynasty Mirror Search for Huru. And I have the good brother, Grandmaster amenkrahh, all the way from Mombasa, Kenya, with us today. And what we're going to be speaking on is, if you've been living under a rock, um, hopefully you haven't been living under a rock and you know about what happened, what transpired last week in regards to the school shooting in Florida. Guy Nicholas Cruz, white supremacist, goes into a school and shoots seven and kills 17 people, injures 14 others. But just a month ago, Donald Trump made comments referencing African countries and Haiti as shithole countries. Now, amenkrahh, you're in Mombasa, Kenya.
Yes.
Is a school shooting something that you worry about in Mombasa?
Okay. In Mombasa, no. In fact, the schools are just now getting fenced. Okay, the school I'm at now, which is like a model school in Mombasa,
Okay.
it's got over 2,000 students. And right next to us is a high school. This is a primary school. Next door is a high school. And, there's no security guard, there's no metal detector, no one carries guns or clubs, maybe a small stick because there's so many students, you got to keep them in line.
Right.
And
So there is a form of corporal punishment, which I completely agree with. They had it when I was in elementary school. But go ahead.
Yeah, a quick note on the corporal punishment part. When I first started dealing with the public school, the primary schools here, it's against the law to give corporal punishment. And I'm a sticker for the law. And when I came to a school, teachers were having sticks and it was whacking students. And I was like, oh, that's not right. That's not good. But like so many things that happen when you stay in Africa, when you live here, you come to realize a lot of the things that are going on has a greater purpose. And you really have to live here before you can really judge any of these things. And I found that the students, and I can't say enjoyed corporal punishment, but they enjoyed being disciplined. You know what I'm saying? It's like the discipline shows like love. And some students are very few, but some of these students are, real cases. And the teachers have straightened up many of them with the fear of the king. So I'm here now. I've come to this school, Tupanga Primary, with 2,000 students. It's so many students. You gotta have a stick in your hand when it's like 100, 200 students walking down the aisleways to keep them in control. It's like cattle. I'll have them here in the lab with me, and they want to watch the projector and videos, and they want to deal with the computers. And I tell them, time for class, go to your next class. They won't move. But when I reach for a small stick, then they, okay, you see. So it's a small note on that. Otherwise, no, there's no violence in this. There's very little violence. I've not seen it here, at all. So the best I can say is like a student had stolen someone's phone, and the police will come into the campus and pull him out of class. That's happened here a couple of times. Few fights here and there, normal thing when you have a lot of students.
Right.
But nothing like violence, vicious, murderous violence. Students are not like that. Africans are not like that.
So why would Donald Trump make the comment and call African countries and Haiti a shithole country? Why would he make those comments?
I can understand it. I don't know if people are not like my opinion about it, but I can understand where he's coming from. when he says when he was talking in context about the shithole countries, he was in comparison a migration issue. And I think instead of people being upset about the comment, they should be looking at the fact that they keep a record of how many immigrants come into America, but they keep no record of how many are disappointed with America and go back home. And they did a article, you know, like so many things that swept under the rug, that said that more Mexicans in California were leaving California, going back to Mexico, than were coming into America. Now, this is not politically accepted, but you know, it's a fact. You know, when we're discussing things about this nature of shootings in schools and kids are killing like that, they can focus on a small area, but you know what is really going on here? Because I mean, this violence is getting out of hand, and you know, I mean, these kind of shootings, and then the fact that the majority of these shootings are you know, white people. We should look. We as Black people who don't have a think tank, we should stop and, you know, our leaders should stop and think and analyze the situation. And then I tell you, it all comes down to the same thing. African Americans, you know, their time in America is up.
So you just mentioned something. So the Nicholas Cruz, the aggressor who killed 17 people in at this Florida school, injured 14, he was a white supremacist. All right. Now, a lot of these conservative, far right, Fox News, they've been very quiet and been treading lightly when covering this story. But we all know if the person was Black or a Muslim, they would use it, especially if he was a Muslim, they would use it as an opportunity to, I guess, you know, we have to ban more Muslims. We have to screen people coming from these radical Muslim countries. We have to make sure we're not allowing radical Islam into America. But this white supremacist shoots up 17 schools, and they're not really doing to the white supremacists like they would do to a Muslim if a Muslim was the one that carried out this shooting. Why do you think that's the case?
Well, on my side, you know, like I said, we're missing the bigger point. You know, Muslims, Arabs, Chinese, these are all things that are going to be in the media. And as far as I'm concerned, we as Black people need to look how these things are happening, and weigh them with the amount of propaganda that comes with them, and see what's best for us. We have a serious problem. And when we start talking about other people, we take away from focus away from what we really should be, you know, focusing on and addressing. I don't see any difference myself.
Okay. Real quick, I want to give a couple shout outs. Guys, appreciate the super chats. Mel, make sure you email me your address so I can send you a postcard. Okay, when you super chat, you get a postcard. Chima already got you. Jim, did I shoot you a postcard? I think I did. Did I shoot you a postcard, Jim? And Kevin, I think I shot you a postcard as well. Did I? I have to look, but let me know. But Mel, make sure you message me your address so I can send you a postcard out. All right. So why do you think, Amirah, these school shootings keep happening? And since these school shootings keep happening, and violence is an ongoing issue in America, would you consider America to be a shithole country? And maybe Donald Trump made those comments as a reflection of what is going on here in America. And then also tell people your story, people who haven't heard it before, on why you left America to go to Kenya.
I left America because I saw what was going to happen. I know it was happening even back then in the 90s when I was there. If you become really black conscious, there's no you cannot stay in America. It's that simple. How? It's impossible. If you're seriously black conscious, you would not start thinking about a way to make money in America because they're a minority. And being in a minority, it's a serious handicap. But we've been given the idea that we can get the full pie, but as a minority, you got to wait for a second, wait for everybody else to finish before you can even get to the pie. And when you find that many of the pieces are already gone, you see what all of these issues come down to the fact that the Muslim is a violent nature. He has a violent nature, and he can solve his problems with violence. This is what Martin Luther King was saying. How can you deal with a man non-violently when a man solves all his problems using violence? And so he had to redirect his whole message. He had to drop the nonviolence. If you remember in history, he had to drop nonviolence because you can't be nonviolent with the people who solve their problems with violence. So you have to understand this. Now, this guy has a temper. I'm talking about white people in general, not white people in Pacific. This guy got a problem. And we keep giving him a pass for 400 years. You know, and to me, as a conscious black man, surely it don't take 3 gunshots to make me understand what's really going on here. You can't deal with him. He is not going to let you win. So look at this. You have gender violence in the U.S., isn't it? I mean, gender wars.
Right. Yeah.
They're
doing that.
Black women, eh? They're doing it.
Yeah, that's more of a liberal.
This thing is going on. You got 70+% of the households are headed by black females. The reason why you have the black man and the black woman fighting is one reason. Because the black man has been economically cut off. He doesn't have money. He don't have money to take his girlfriend out. He don't have money to get married. He don't have money to raise his kids. You can snowball it and say it's the woman, but surely look at the white man. Is the white woman complaining? No, because she got money. The man got money. You solve a lot of your problems with money, but you can come up with a lot of excuses when you don't have money. Mm-hmm. So we're being starved for money. We're running around here trying to get some poutine from women without having to pay without having all the drama, because you don't have money to go to the next step. After love has made you two come together, you have to have what?
Money.
There it's replaced. But love is a temporary emotion. Once the love part is over, you're looking at your partner, and the next thing that comes is commitment. But you can't commit to something when you don't have economic stability. And the war out there in America for the black man hunting for economic stability is almost impossible, let alone economic prosperity, surely. When you see these athletes, what do you think they be talking about? These athletes, these professional athletes, what do you think they be talking about in the locker room? Think they be talking about the next game? No, they be talking about money and the situations that they're in. And the older players are trying to tell the younger player, you got this new contract, you got this money, do A, B, C, D. Don't make the mistake of doing A, B, C, D. But in the midst of all of that talking, they're talking about what? Surviving. Because economically, the masses of black people don't have money. That's the case. And a lot of white people don't have money too. That poor boy is complaining about the girlfriend left him and went to another boy, so that was his decision to shoot up the school. If some of these white people, they feel what we feel, because America is changing economically, and they feel what we feel, and their reaction reaction to it is not like a black man. The black man's uh, reaction to economic oppression is to do like an O.J. Simpson, dodge left, do, shoom, 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 you see? But a white person's reaction is violence.
Mm.
His basic root is violence. And the black man's nature is not violence, unless you raised in America where all your toys is guns and planes, all your video games are shoot them and blow them up. That's what white people like. So we live in that culture, then we like that too. You don't have that in Africa. Violent games, shooting up games is not favored here. Kids don't like that type of thing. They like dancing, singing, but then you put a video game to them that's where it's army men shooting and blood spreading everywhere, that they're not drawn to that. See? So even in cartoons, I'm here and I don't show a lot of American cartoons to the African students here, and they get bored quickly when you put these things on here with guns and Avengers and things like that. They're not interested in that. See? But you put something like, Walt Disney or Frozen or Sophia the First, they love that. But this murderous culture is in America, and black people that remain there either fall victim to it or they succumb to it. And this is why I'm saying, Africa is the only solution, and for your children especially. You're foolish to keep them there.
So somebody was. Are you familiar with the situation that's going on in South Sudan?
No, I don't really watch the news. What's happening in South Sudan? And it's my neighbor.
Well, they're.
You tell me which one, because I privy a lot of news. So.
Well, there's of course, South Sudan split from Sudan, and then there's a lot of infighting going on in South Sudan. So somebody in the chat brought that up as far as Africans not being violent.
That person in the chat room is looking at what I'm saying and trying to figure out an opposite point. So he got to go all the way to South Sudan, where all the countries in the region are helping South Sudan, and there are rebels there, and America is also there undercover, giving out guns and trying to destabilize the region. This is what you don't see on the news, and you got to be able to understand that. I have many Kenyan that I know went to South Sudan when it became independent to try to start businesses there. And because of this destabilization and bombings here and there, many of them came back because the government was not yet stable. But everybody loves the president. Now you tell me what's going on there. That ain't undercover ops situation. There's nothing. What can you tell me? The people of South Sudan split from Sudan. They split from the Arab and get their own country. Then they're gonna be fighting amongst the two of them for what? It doesn't make sense. Every time they get a chance to run a stable government, somebody drops a bomb somewhere or somebody blows themselves up, and they keep calling for lots of troops to go into South Sudan to keep the region on fire and destabilize it. But the people themselves are very peaceful.
Right.
See, this is the situation. America, what you have to understand, Africa is young. The new modern Africa is young. It ain't old. Just came out of colonization 50 years ago. And for people who've come out of that kind of situation 50 years ago, this place has done wonders. People have gone far. You got your governments that are moving in and out. They're getting rid of the jokers and the people that are unstable. They're fighting corruption. People don't want that. People don't want violence. And so this is why, in this atmosphere, it is very difficult for foreign agents to come in here and pit one group against another. I'm in Mombasa, half the place is Christian, half the place is Islam, and I've never seen the two fight, you see? So this, they live in harmony, here, like it's nothing, because the African is just given two choices. And he's really not serious about Christianity or Islam, if you ask me, from what I see. They'll do it, but that's because it's been taught in the school and the parents are saying go here and go to church, go to mosque, But overall, the African is just wants peace. And when you come here, you have peace. I didn't know about the shooting in Florida until you told me. And just I didn't even know who was fighting, who played in the Super Bowl until the Eagles, and I don't even know the other team because you're in a whole new world here. You know what I'm saying? And you may believe, like, because of the media propaganda is so bombarding that you might think that everybody knows because the Super Bowl is so big. No, everybody get to know about the shooting. No, America keeps that negative media away from us. See, so they try to hide it, and they pump up the thing on the movies so that you can think like America's this great place, and we're far from that. And we need to come sit down and realize that the black man not having money, this is what's causing the gender wars. This is the basis of that. Because if he had money, he would have happy women. And women would be there, yeah. But you don't have, you might even get a woman and you might try to, wine and dine her and treat her well, and you might have all of these intentions, but the money is low. And the last thing, even me, when my wife tells me, can you give me 300 bulb? Like the other day, she asked me for 600 bulb, and I was like, I was gonna use that money. But you have, as a man, we feel like, let me just give it to her, and then I'm gonna get some kudos later down the line. You get me? Mm-hmm. But when I'm suffering, I, as a man, won't go to my woman like, man, I don't have any money, and I owe this bill. You see, nothing like that. So this is the pride of a black man, and his independent nature. But at the same time, he's turning around trying to look at his woman is doing this to him. Even me, myself, I used to say, oh, my woman did A, B, C, D. If it would never happen, if we would have had financial security as a people. And you need to look at the situation that you're in and be truthful that money is getting low. And you can't do the thing. You can't buy a house. That's almost out of the question. That I saw on TV when the recession hit in 2008. Mm-hmm. I saw this article. This lady came on, did a Good Morning show, and saying, "No, well, for today's Americans, the American dream is no longer a house. The American dream is an apartment."
Yeah, I saw that. Go into that. I saw that.
Yeah, So and then the black man today, 2018, is still walking around with his head up like the rest of the world is fucked, but I'm okay. Well, I'm glad I'm in America. You're not safe. It's the murder capital of the world, and you see it every day now. How many hundreds of thousands of black parents are going to be sending their kids to school on Monday, worrying about if they'll get shot? Can you imagine the advice the black woman is telling her son when he's walking out the door on Monday morning? Okay, if you hear gunfire, duck to the ground.
Hey, Rahh, when your kids leave in the morning to go to school in Mombasa, do you have to tell them, how to deal with police officers? Make sure they don't wear their hoodies because some people might think they're suspicious and kill them. Make sure if you hear gunfire, hit the ground. In school, listen, in Fulton County, they said that they might start teaching or holding active shooter drills. Is that something this all something you guys have to deal with in Kenya?
First of all, it's illegal to have guns in Kenya. And most Africans, it's illegal to have firearms. So can you imagine how peaceful you feel when nobody has guns? Okay? Now you got your few robbers here that may come with a fake gun, and some would come, every once in a while you got somebody with a real gun. But that's for sure and not go. Because the violence nature is not there. And mob violence is a thing in Kenya. So if he shoot and gets seen, he can't live wherever he was shooting because the people are going to catch him in the middle of the night and put him on fire. Okay, that's the second. I've seen it. I have seen them beat this boy to a pulp. I came outside and I was like, what are you guys doing? We are not barbarians. Uh-huh. And the guy came walking next to me in this crowd and whispered in my ear, we're going to kill him whether you like it or not. And I looked around and I was like, okay. I see like I was a foreign voice in this whole situation. And they took about 2 hours before they murdered this boy, caught him on fire. And you know what they were doing in that 2 hours? They was passing judgment on him. They were waiting for people to come and identify him that he was the one who stole their things, broke into their shop, and when they said that was the case, they got him. See? And they didn't wait for the police. The police didn't come. You rarely see the police because it's not necessary. The police don't patrol streets here. You see? And when my kids go off in the morning, the last thing I think about is if they're going to get somebody going to shoot them. I worry about they're going to get hit by a car or maybe a motorcycle, but it's not a worry. And this adds to the peace of mind that you have when you leave the United States. If you never lived anywhere else, once you leave, you live somewhere else, and you live there. I don't mean visit. And you live there, you slowly come to realize that, goddamn, that America was crap. You see? So as an African, these young nations grow and they're following a modern design. They're following a model of what the people like. And the people are very influenced by television. So the models of the buildings, the fast food restaurants, now they got the malls, because the countries have money. Every countries have big money. And they're making malls now. I think we got like 6 new super malls in Kenya. Fast food joints out there. You see, people like buy cars, don't have garage, don't know what a garage is. And then, but you can't know unless you come live here. And then if you wait too long, just like in the Titanic, it's going to be too late. You might get on a life raft, but when you get back to land, it's going to be just as bad for you. Okay? Many of you are going to sink, and many have already fell and drowned. How many people can name many of their high school friends, their childhood friends? Where are they today? You can where did so-and-so go? Where did such and such go? Man, whatever happened to so-and-so? You see? I mean, the majority of my friends are either dead or disappeared, off the radar. See? Come to find out, one of my friends has been in jail for the last 20-something years. Just after I left, he was put in jail, and he's still there today. And I'm looking for him on Facebook and wondering, where is he? Get me? So it's a sad case, because there again, hundreds of thousands. I won't say hundreds of thousands. I'll say thousands and thousands of black brothers are being picked up and being railroaded in the court system. Yeah. It doesn't bother you until it's your child. Huh? Like Jesse Jackson. His son got put in prison and he crying on TV. I'm like, you decided to stay there, that's what you get. So you're raising him in America. Jesse Jackson's son, raising in America, trying to be out there, and comes up being corrupted by the system. And then, you see, if Jesse Jackson had his son here, and this goes for any of these celebrities, had their son here, you wouldn't have this problem. You wouldn't have them fear of them being shot, having to have security guards wherever they go, guns, drugs, you see. People still think you're in the greatest country in the world, and I'm here to tell you, China beat you in 2014. Somebody should tell Obama, China is the #1 country in the world now, not America, because they keep on making it the greatest country in the world. That story is just a big fat lie. Even if it was halfway great, it's showing the goddamn greatest country for African Americans.
So some of the comments you made as far as black people not having any money, black men not having the resources, some people would say that's you're playing the victim card. What would be a response to that?
I'm not playing the victim card. I left. You're there. The game is still on you. They was beating us and hanging us. And then America started having cameras and television, and this stuff started becoming on TV. So they said they decided in them think tanks, we can't lynch them and do them like that anymore, because television cameras and news is spreading this information all over the world, and they get mad and they start burning up the towns. And so That and those think tanks, it's completely obvious. I wasn't there, but what else would you say? Let's leave them alone. Let them think they're free, but oppress them economically, and we won't have to deal with them at our level. And I'm telling you, in them think tanks, they was like, that's the answer. We're gonna economically kill them off. If a black man get a job, we make sure he don't keep that job more than 5 years. If a black man is up for a promotion, we make sure he doesn't get that promotion. If a black man goes to a job and makes one silly mistake, we're gonna have him fire him. So he'll be constantly looking for employment, and he's never stable, and he can't, without him being economically stable, he can't keep a woman. He can't raise kids. This is what the case is. Very plain and simple. So when you think you know, or you think you're fighting in a system that is for you, that's not the case. The man is still following the same rules he followed back in the day. He will not share the spotlight with the black man on an equal plane because we're better than them. How many millions of white people go out and pay money to watch us throw balls into the hoop and run circles around other players, beat shit out of each other in football, baseball, even in hockey. So, you know, they watch us because they understand that we are great people. Music-wise and everything. And they like that part of us. And there's a great many white people that make a living off of our talents in America. So when you start talking black people go to Africa, they get upset, they get nervous. Because the white man's greatest fear in America is black people leaving in mass. Think about it. They'll let you riot, they'll let you go out, boycott, they'll let you go out and shoot up a few places, they'll let you go and have a 1,000,000-man march, they'll let you do all of that. But start talking about going back, leaving America completely. No way. You're talking about something that is going to embarrass them in international quarters. You know, here we have on the news that in America, black people are leaving America and saying they are fed up with their treatment of 400 years. The airports have long lines, and they show pictures of the long line black people. Then they go and interview black people in the line. I'm leaving this motherfucker. I'm tired. I was racist for my job, but racism, I'm out. You see, oh, they took my son and they put him in prison, and it was unfair. He only had one ounce of cocaine, and they told him to in prison for 10 years. Yes, people would be, America would fear that like the hell. That's their biggest fear. Because when they made this country, they said they're going to give you 40 acres and a mule. I mean, not 40 acres and a mule, but you can get free land and free labor. And we was the labor. Because all the immigrants that you see coming to America in the early days, and even in the 1800s, white people would come to like they show you on the Western movies, white people go west and they buy like these large tracts of land. Now you tell me, how can land be valuable without somebody to work the land? I'm waiting. Can land be valuable? You can have like 50 acres of land. How valuable is it to you without the muscle to turn that land into profit? I'm waiting. And when have you seen like 50,000 white people bent over backwards on some land? They don't have that mentality. Their mentality is violence. Beat somebody or trick somebody or fool somebody into working the land for as little as possible. If they can be a slave, all the better.
Let me give a couple of shout outs real quick. Shout out to O'Shea, Duke Jackson, who's in the chat room. I appreciate it, brother. Thank you for the super chat. I still need your address, O'Shea. Make sure you email it to me. Shout out to King Love. Appreciate you super chatting. Make sure I get your address too, brother. Dream Chaser, shout out to you. Thank you for the super chat. Make sure I get your address, family, so I can send you oh, Ron, I need your address, bro. I'm gonna send you a postcard. I'm gonna send you a card. So I want to send you one, brother. So make sure you give me your address. once we get off. So Dream Chaser, if I haven't sent you a postcard already, make sure you email me your address so I can get this over to you. All right, let's continue. Just how to get those shout outs out the way. So do you think, Amenkrahh, that America is a shithole country?
Yes. America is a terrible, terrible place to be if you are black. It's the case of the matter. Okay, now it's now becoming a terrible place to be, period, because the disparity of wealth in America is so great, and the industrial side of America is gone. So, you know, most of the manufacturing jobs are still far from the country, and this is where a lot of our black grandmothers today, you can call them grandparents, were making their money, working in the factories, building cars, you know, working in the industrial section. And you know, since President added to power, all the manufacturing jobs, majority of the manufacturing jobs were taken out of the country. And this is one of the reasons why Mexicans are leaving California, because they're finding the jobs in factories in Mexico. And this is the reality, although the politics and the propaganda is trying to steer us away from that. Say that Trump wants to build a wall to keep us in, not keep Mexicans out. Because when the throwdown really comes, you're gonna find a lot of blacks rushing, you know, rushing for the border. You know, but by that time it'll be too late. I think you remember when they had that African couple, they were so hot, so confused by the propaganda, they tried to go into Canada. The guy took his family, wife, and kids. They're rushing to cross the line. The Canadian guy is trying to help them across the line, and the American patrol is trying to grab him and keep him back. And they had got his wife, and then they let his wife go after the guy crossed over to Canada. But you're gonna see this a lot when you live in a country where you can't leave unless you have a passport. Then they deny them passports. That's supposed to be a legal right of a person to be able to travel anywhere in the world. How can a government decide they're gonna keep you from going somewhere? You don't see, the black don't see how trapped they are. They don't see that even if they decide they want to be black conscious and go to Africa, they come find out there's so many obstacles in their way. And the least of all of them is the economic situation, the major cause of why you want to leave that place in the first place. You see, like many African Americans, the first thing they want to ask me is there any jobs? Can I make money? It's because you're starving in America for money. Starving for jobs. You'll take out your fellow brother if the Mzungu threatens your job. It's either you or him. One of you got to go. You knock him in the head in a minute. You see, because that's what happens when you're desperate. And I know a lot of brothers are feeling guilty because they feel that same exact way. They get on a job and it's either me or him, and they do some despicable things that even they don't, would never think about doing, because as the economic war goes on and money becomes tighter and tighter, you'll find black people doing that. Black women and men are fighting, and then soon you'll see even black men fighting in the same way.
So how do you predict the future? What do you foresee what's going to happen in regards to the black collective in the next, we'll say, 10 years here in America?
All you have to do is if you look back 10 years ago or 20 years ago, 20 years ago or 40 years ago, and then compare then to now. You see, I'm 60 years old just about, and I can tell you what I remember when there was no AIDS, when there was no, this thing of child support and these things of credit deprivation. You could get away with certain things. I remember when petrol was light. I remember when there was no insurance. Your car didn't need insurance. So these things, I've seen many of these things that are coming into play now in the society. A lot of them are simply regulational things that happen in any major society until the people revoke. Because we are black and a minority, it hits us harder. And it would be different if where we came from, the situation was like we came from a war-torn country or somewhere like that. But that's not the case. Africa is booming more than any other continent. The African people are saying, "Come home, my brother," and you've been brainwashed into believing that you're in a better place. And you think that if you come to Africa, something's going to happen to you, and you're going to suffer. And that's the brainwash that is of America. The manipulation. If you tell somebody something enough times, they have to believe it. You know all about these things, so you hear about them. What you are, what you think about. You're a product of your environment. So if you get people saying Africa is a great place, you'll go. If people start saying Africa is a terrible place, you won't go. If you see like people saying Africa is a good place, Africa is a bad place, Africa is a good place, you'll just stand there and you'll wait. And this is what the majority of black people are doing. They're just standing there, they're waiting to see, instead of going and looking back in history and seeing like history can tell you what the future is going to hold. So what do you think is next? America lied about the Ebola situation. They lied about the AIDS situation. I told you, this whole thing is just, that is why the mass media propaganda is the black man's worst enemy. That's what's making them stall in place.
Let's see if we got any questions in the chat room real quick. Let's see here.
Everybody left because I'm talking.
No. People let's see here. Somebody had made a comment. I'm trying to find it. Let's see here. Yeah, I'm right here. Oh, you're on the phone. Okay. Again, everybody, thank you so much for coming on. Again, me and Brother Rahh just speaking on pretty much Americans. Is it? I would say, are Americans in a place to criticize any other country or call them shithole countries? That's pretty much what we're speaking on today. So thank you, Brother Rahh, for coming on and joining us.
Okay.
Where do you foresee places like Kenya in the next 10 years?
I see that the African countries, you see what happened with South Africa, they kicked out the current president,
right,
exercising their rights like that because of the opposition there is really talking about, the white man got to go. The white man should not have privilege. And the ANC there was allowing this to go on over time. It's the same thing. What happened? Winnie Mandela said that Nelson Mandela was a sellout, and
right.
Look at his actions. He claimed to give out. He claimed he was going to make 400,000 homes. He didn't even make 5,000 homes. Yeah. So you see, but the propaganda has propped him up so that you don't pay attention to what's really going on. And but Africa is changing. Yeah, Nigeria is changing. These are major centers are changing and they're developing and they're moving in the right direction. Nothing's going to stop that. You might have your hiccups here and there. 10 years, it's going to be totally obvious that Africa is the way to go. Do business, to travel, for a vacation, and definitely restart your African family and be a part of a majority instead of somebody's minority.
Hey, somebody in the chat room is asking, do you think it's possible Black America is a form of country in America? I know they're talking about calling it New Africa, and it'll be compromised of the it'll be the South.
Why would you want to do that? It's so ridiculous. First of all, America is not the best real estate. Half of it is frozen, the other is desert, and the other part is earthquake. You know, and then there's a little bit of tornado in the middle. Flooding is everywhere. America is not the best real estate. Africa is got the most, the most fertile land. So if you're going to talk about building up a country, what the hell would you want to do it around white people for? Huh? Isn't 400 years enough of getting your ass kicked? Isn't that enough? You know, if you're not seeing how crazy these white people can be, huh? They won't let you. If they won't let you do Black Wall Street, burn that. If they burn Black Wall Street to the ground, and not only burn, but many other prosperous Black home communities, what makes you think they're going to allow you to be? Why you got to be up under them? That's my question. What's the fascination of being up under them? Even if you have your own homeland, you're still going to have to use their money. They're going to have their army right around you. They would love you to do that. They would rather you build a homeland in Colorado and all you fools go live up in Colorado where they can shoot you and exploit you rather than you to come to Africa. When Malcolm X says that you've been brainwashed and bamboozled, you're thinking wrong. And you need to realize what brainwashing is. There's no way in the hell you would choose that living in America or building anything in America when you have Africa there and the people are saying, come, brother, come. Surely. It's ridiculous.
Now, you said the people are saying, do you think the actual government play a larger role in encouraging Black people to come back and build?
Ooh, today you're fading out. What was that question again?
You keep saying the people keep encouraging Black Americans to come back to Africa. Do you think the African government should play a larger role in encouraging Black Americans to come back to Africa?
The people in Africa are different from government. You have to understand that the government has a lot of knowledge about America and about Europe that they don't give out. The African nations know what's happening. You can kind of see it in their speeches. When you hear President Uhuru speak and he said, things like we are our people, we keep it with the people. These are undertone messages that say that we will not allow outsiders to come in and control us anymore. He really gave this point in a speech he gave at the African Union at the time when he was being trying to be convicted of crimes against humanity by this Belgium court.
Right.
And he really talked. He became emotional amongst all of the other African leaders, country leaders, and it was a beautiful speech. And even me, I had downloaded it and listened to it several times because he was really talking from the heart, saying like the African nations know that the Europeans are how they are, and this was before Libya, I think, and it can never go back to that. So, as far as the people are concerned, even in my case, nothing but love. And something else is that I get privilege over other Africans. So if there's me, and I'm like a guest, if I go to some event, they're not gonna let me sit in the crowd. They're gonna tell me to come up on the podium and sit. If I go to someone's house, I'm going to be served first. Get what I'm saying? When we're doing business arrangements and doing business deals, I'm getting the respect, and they're more confident with me than their fellow Africans. You see what I'm saying? So, you can't compare. And there's two different things. The way the African governments are saying, they have their reasons for being hesitant about that. Militarily and secretively, if they show favoritism to the Black American, as I have told you, the white man's greatest fear is class. If they show favoritism or try to pull African Americans to their country, it may trigger the governments to come and do things in their country, and it's already been happening. You see, so especially in Kenya's case, where they had American bombings here, and they're involved in Somalia situations like that, where America's also playing a part. America also sends some of their military people here and do business with the Kenyans in military training. I've met some people who've done that with the Americans, sat them down, asked them how was what was happening with the Americans, and so you can't really say the both. But we ourselves as individuals are never going to be 99.9% of us are never going to be involved in the government affairs. We're going to be involved, see when we get here. And the people that you see when you get here are for you, not for us. You see, you will not die, you will not starve on the streets. You come, you just be honestly, because you have to be humble, because you don't have land and you don't have a country. If you don't have economic, if you only own less than 1% of the American wealth, you don't have a country there. You get what I'm saying? So yeah, you might feel good because you got your job, but really you should be far more than just a job. You should be having careers. You should be managing. You see what I'm saying? Our people have given a lot and have great ability, but we keep being individuals, and we don't come together in unity, and that is just in us. I'm not going to say it's wrong or right. Let's come all together and unify and come. Let's have a group go into. You're coming from a country where you have been so victimized by coming together in groups that most of the black men are hesitant. They have already formed a defense against that by moving independently in the night. So if you get a job, that's you. That ain't your family members to help. Your job ain't to help the family members because you just climbing a rope trying to survive. So you carry that same mentality over in Africa, and then it take you years to come to realize that you don't need to have that defense. You can go and ask somebody for money, and you can come here and give money to somebody else that needs it. And this is what goes on here. People know you by the way you are. Like when I came here, I used to walk by these funerals. People collecting little money for people that died. There was people here like some motorcycle rider died, and then they just sit on the street with a pan, and then they pass around. People walking by would put in some money to help bury him or send him back to his homeland, because many people die here. Their homeland is far, so they have to pay the travel costs. So I started doing it because people will see, people see you. And if you walk by without paying money, when your turn comes, they won't help you. Because somebody will say that guy didn't help so-and-so, So the other day when the guy came with a pan for me about one of our motorcycle transport guys that, crashed and died, shoot, I took my time, pulled my wallet out, showed everybody here I'm putting in this much money to help him. And they was grateful. Because I'm a foreigner, you see. I'm a black man from America, so I stand out. So then when they came to me, everybody that was around was looking at me. You get what I'm saying? And some of us got this thing in us, they trying to exploit me, blah, blah, blah. That's a defense in us from America. You can't use that here. You got to be giving, you got to follow along. And when you play along in Africa, in an African country, you're rewarded. So it's not like in America where you play along and then you find you've been a victim of somebody's scam, or you go there and you work your ass off, and then at the end of the day the white man fire you, and then you're looking at him like, why? I've been doing good. Why? Because they got a plan, fool. They ain't looking at you as an individual. They're looking at you as a group. You're looking at yourself as an individual, thinking like you're gonna play on the white man's emotions. He has none. You can't be emotionally concerned about someone when you got the pimp and be violent towards them. Surely, you think those pictures you see of black people hanging from trees, you don't think they were screaming, why, no, what can they say? They're hanging from trees because they didn't leave when they had an opportunity, to leave the country. And this is what you won't see on the news much now, because they got the think tanks to stop those videos of people videotaping of these incidents happening. and so we think everything is okay. But when you walk outside, you see less and less black people walking down the street. And then when you find a black person, they may give you the heads up, but at the end of the day, they won't even talk. You find yourself alone in a desperate situation. Better for you to go to America, but better for you to come to Africa where you won't be alone. You get 3 or 4 friends in your community, African friends in your community, you set. Nobody gonna let you starve.
Right.
Nobody gonna let you.
No, you're absolutely right about that.
Nobody gonna let you live out on the street. You see. But if you was in America, oh, buddy, don't let that. Don't let yourself go out to the store and come back and find the eviction notice on your door and the sheriff's locking you out, hammering up the boarding up your house. Then you like going to your relatives and they say no, and you find yourself under the bridge with a shopping cart, a few belongings. Huh? That is definitely what's happening. So I would say that your best bet is to liquefy your assets. And if you got to come under the radar and come to Africa if you can still get your passport.
I already got my passport, so I'm good.
Yeah, many of them don't have passports. But when they start tying up your credit rating to you getting the passport,
Whoa. Do you think that could happen? Because they're already doing it with
That's happening. You think Wesley would? You think they didn't use Wesley as a model? Go check the internet. You owe taxes. You ain't going nowhere. If you rich and you talk about deciding to leave America, you're gonna pay heavily in taxes before they let you go. So it's not in your best interest to joke around and say I got time. Let me wait and see until they come knocking on my door. That time is over, man. You can just see it when you look back at history. Dr. Robert Gala gonna tell you HIV causes AIDS is only in homosexuals, and then fly over to Africa. They're gonna say now it's you can get AIDS through heterosex. Joking. We just now gonna keep quiet about 9/11 like that didn't even happen. Now that's just people just quiet because if you can do it, you talk about 9/11. The mass media is there, and it's seriously affecting not only blacks but even whites. Whites are starting to see that they got a paper history, fake, and a lot of the things that they did. You see that guy? What's his name? Beck. His name is Beck, and you had a story of Black Americans in the history of America.
Yeah, Glenn Beck.
Yes, Glenn Beck. Wasn't that nice? That thing we had about they had them guys on talking about blacks. The first black. This is the first black dad in the cabinet secretary. Blacks were slaves. And then educated themselves, went to Congress, became congressmen, and was more intelligent than the white men that was already in Congress. So if you just look at the history, I'm telling you, I didn't get past page 5 before I knew I was leaving the country. Surely, if they can do the history like that, what can't they do to me? How can I look at my child in the face, my son, and like I'm your daddy? That's bullshit. I'm not your daddy. Huh? The white man, people that take control of the country is your daddy. I'm just here trying to survive. Huh? And then God help those parents who say, those black parents who raise their kid up in nice schools and then the kid end up being taken out by drugs, or they go get a really good education in college and then like Dr. Barbara Sizemore's son can't get a job and he got a PhD. You know what I'm saying? Those things, that's because we live in fake dreams. Time to go. Time to at least look at Africa. And as I said, you need to get on social media and find you some African friends and befriend them.
Hey, say that one more time. Say that. Give that about one more time.
You need to get on, find you some African friends. The first thing you do is you adapt an African country that you want to go to. That's first. Before you do anything, stop saying Africa and decide, is it going to be Ghana or is it going to be Kenya or Nigeria? Always go where there's a large urban population. Don't go where there's urban population is small, okay? Because it's too much of a culture shock. Go where there's malls and cities and everything because you can get around because you're used to it. You see what I'm saying? Business people are just like at home. So you can understand, but you get into a country somewhere and it's all farmland, and the Africans running around, women running around with no shirts on, carrying buckets on their head, and you go like, I'm in the real Africa now. That's stupid. See, because it's gonna take you 3 generations just to get along, and you might end up just with cattle. You know, so you go to the urban population areas, and I always say Kenya is a great one because it's so much like America. Ghana is also there, but it's not the size of Kenya. It's like very small, and a lot of Black Americans are there. And from what I understand, a lot of Black Americans are there, not making it, not opportunities. But Nigeria is also there, great opportunities, but people are very smart. So you got to be really smart to try to do business in Nigeria. So I wouldn't recommend it. I lived there. Blacks are still being in hardship. They're just still struggling to try to get out. Tanzania is also there, a wonderful country, but they really speak a lot of Swahili. You got to be prepared for that. In the country where you're coming, you want to start doing business, you want to be speaking a lot of English, and Kenya is good for that. So you pick your country, and you can always change it later. Then from there, you start getting friends from that country on Facebook. And then you start talking to them and tell them, I want to come. Don't talk to me about I want to come. I done heard it 100,000 times. Go to them and tell a Kenyan or a Tanzanian that I'm coming to your country. I'm coming there. I want to come there. And listen to that. Don't get one friend and then say, okay, I'm going to take his word as law. No, get several friends. And don't let them be knowing each other. So you got friends from this state, this city, from this city, and you work them like that. When you come to the country, you make sure you spend your first 2 nights in a hotel room so you can get acclimated to the society, to the weather and the surroundings. Don't go to the people's house because they're strangers to you, and you might think that I know them on Facebook, but you don't know them. So I recommend 2 days in the hotel room, no matter what your friends say. Let them come visit you at the hotel. Then from there, as you get around, now you can decide I'm gonna go to this friend's house. They'll want to invite you all around, show you off because you're unique. You're a foreigner and you're Black American, and we are very special. People see us in the movies, see us on TV, and they think we all can do magical things. So from there, you've already had discussed with your African friends about opportunities for business or working or whatever like that. You have your little money that lasts you for 3 or 4 months. You set up shop. And don't worry about missing home because nothing is going to change at home. I've been away 20-something years, and I call home and they say nothing changed. Still the same. Mm-hmm. So-and-so's friend died, then that's it. Now, you ain't got to fly all the way to America to figure that out. You got social media, and now you can talk to your family directly, face-to-face, like we're doing right now. Come on. It's not like back in the day. So, yeah. Just take... And if you get nervous and you feel, your mind is shaking because psychologically your subconscious mind has been in depth with negative thinking, just keep telling yourself, if I can always go back, if the shit is bad, like I thought it was, or if I don't like it, I can always go back to America. And you can always go back. You don't even need a passport. You can go to the American embassy. I lost my passport. I don't have plane fare. And they will give you plane fare and you can go back to America. So several of my American friends have done that. Come here, spent all their money on women and party, and didn't have no money, and had to go to the embassy. They loan you a ticket. So there's no reason for you not to come, except for the economic problem. And if you can't afford a plane ticket to Africa and you're a Black American, you should be seeing. You should come and look at that. That should tell you something about where you live.
And what should that tell you? What should that tell you? What should that tell you?
Plane ticket, and you got to talk about I got a family. Child support, I can't help you there. Many brothers got the child support issue. I would just say that you need to get a lawyer, see what you can do. Maybe because nobody knows what to tell them about. I'm going to move to Africa. How can I do? I still have to pay, or how much will I have to pay? No one knows that, but I know that you surely gonna it's not gonna be no different whether you're there or here. If you have to pay.
Mm-hmm.
So the main issue is, and I think your brother O'Shea had a show on that, telling them pay the money and just leave the bitch alone. You know, and I totally agree. You only have one life. You know, me, I was an athlete from when I was young. So I've been blessed. I'm 60 now, but I'm still youthful in general. You know, I had failed relationships, and I still had enough energy and youthfulness in my body to get a new, to start again. And some of us gonna have to do that. You're gonna have to start all over again. And I'm telling you, once you start off with another relationship, uh, you know, you won't stress on the past because after your woman did you wrong, I know you're sleeping and having many sleepless nights there, rolling around in bed. That bitch, you see. So I know because I was there, and it was all because I was the idiot. I was the one staying in that country and not seeing the writing on the wall. It was my responsibility to see what was really happening. So, I had kids. I didn't get a chance to raise them. And, thank God now I'm here. I got a wonderful woman, kids, family, and I'm going to live out my dream. I'm going to be a little old. I'll be old at the PTA meetings, but shit, I'll be over the way nature is intended. Get into a land, have children, and raise them to the age of where they can take care of themselves and take care of you at the same time. That's the African way, and that's the best way.
Cool. Real quick, let me give a couple shout outs. Brian Cole, I appreciate the super chat. Also, Victor Mobley, I appreciate the super chat. Now, interesting, then we'll close out. Brian, you have your wife is Kenyan, right? Kenyan, right? And you met her in Kenya. I believe so. So he's gonna come on too and speak on his relationship with his how he met his wife in Kenya. But hey, we're gonna close out. So Amenkrahh, you have the floor. Any closing comments you want to make? Go ahead, and also tell people how they can reach out to you and contact you.
Okay, I'm on Facebook. We have a group called A Black Man's Guide to Visiting and Moving to Africa. We're just giving out helpful tips about Africa, about Kenya, and then helpful psychological things about information that you may not have known about the U.S. to kind of counter the propaganda. And that's basically where you can contact me on Facebook. I'm there in the mornings every day, and we have a tournament tomorrow, a martial arts tournament tomorrow here in Coast. Anybody wants to log on, you'll see a link coming up on Facebook, and you can see modern martial arts in Africa, which I introduced, and it's something that is growing. And then we're in our 20th year now, and that's another thing that when you come here in Africa, the way it's developed, businesses are more stable and they can last for years. Businesses I started back 20 years ago are still going strong now. No interruption, no government regulations, no need to travel or go from another region because state laws and things have gotten in the way, nothing like that. So, yeah, so that's where you can get hold of me on Facebook.
Okay. Hey, can you tell Voice of Reason? What's the Facebook again, Amenkrahh?
My Facebook is Black Man's Guide to Visiting and Moving to Africa. Now I screen everybody, so you'll see like, oh, they only got 300 people. That's because I screen everybody thoroughly. So if you come with jokes, you're going to be removed from the group. I don't have that many friends on Facebook because I don't see the point of having thousands of friends you don't know. So when I look at my page, I got 300 people, and I know them either personally or I've dealt with them and seen them. So to friend me, best thing to do is get into the group, and that's where we can interact together like that. I've been on Facebook for so many years, and I've said it always doesn't make sense to have people you don't know as friends on Facebook. It's not enjoyable. When I log on in the morning, I get 30, 40 messages. It's from people I know, and I like that.
All right, perfect. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for coming on Search for Huru. Handle is Search for Huru on Instagram, Snapchat, Twitter, and Facebook. Also, make sure you go to searchforhuru.com. go to Amazon.com, search your name, Dynasty Samir. Please buy a book. And also go to dynastysamir.com. Also, too, on Facebook, go to Africa Personified. That's the name of the group. Another platform I'm working on. The same thing on Instagram, Africa Personified. Make sure you guys like, share, subscribe to my channel as well, and like and share. Everybody who super chatted, thank you so much for super chatting. I'm Rahh, brother. It's been a pleasure again. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I'm saying thank you for having me.
Oh, no problem. Anytime. This is your home. So everybody, thank you for coming on. And till next time, I'll probably be back on later on today. So till next time, Dynasty Samir. Peace.